I'll start by giving an introduction. I'm 17 years old and will be turning 18 in September. Throughout my life, I've been moving from country to country. After being born in Beirut, my family and I moved to Dubai in 1999, then to Doha in 2002, Manama in 2006, and then to Istanbul in December 2010. Turkey is where I'm currently living, and it is also the place where I've faced some of the scariest moments of my life. When we first moved to Istanbul, I was really happy. It was perfect. It was more like heaven rather than a city for me. It was green everywhere and it rained a lot. I absolutely love rain. The house my father bought was located out of the city. It was really just gorgeous. 2 stories, a huge garden, a fountain near the entrance, and a beautiful terrace. My mother had decorated the terrace with lots of flower pots. The weather would mostly be pleasant, but it would rain quite a lot as well. The day we moved in, I was just so excited that I couldn't keep myself together. I just wanted to start prancing around like a mad person because of how happy I was. My bedroom was on the 1st floor. My bed was located right next to the wall near the bathroom and had 2 bed tables, one to its left and the other to its right. There was a studying desk, a nice closet that you could walk into, and the bathroom was very pretty and spacious. At first, everything was completely okay. Nothing weird or spooky. But then there were these little things that annoyed me. When I would lay down to sleep, I would feel something poke me in the back of my neck. But when I would turn behind, there was nothing. Shampoo and soap started to disappear from the bathroom. My towel would disappear from where I'd put it while I'd take a shower. And I'd find my clothes lying on the terrace floor or on the ground near the back garden. It was extremely weird. But I tried to remain calm and thought that it was probably just my sister annoying me, since she loved to do so. But then it got worse. I would wake up to my books missing, my test papers missing, pages torn from my notebooks, and then I lost my diary. It had so many personal things about me written in it, and it randomly disappeared. My room window would open by itself, and the AC would stop working automatically. By now, I was getting really scared. It felt like someone was perpetually doing this so that I would stop living in that room. I then thought that if I were to exchange rooms with my sister, it'd stop happening. It was hard to do so, but eventually, I convinced her to change rooms with me. However, it didn't stop. It wasn't just my sister being a mischievous brat. I once woke up while sleeping to an awful burning sensation that I felt on my left leg. When I checked, there was nothing. It just didn't make any sense. Nothing did. What convinced me to talk to my mother about this was that once when I returned home from school, I found my diary lying on the shelf where my sister had previously put all her perfumes and makeup items. When I read it, I almost shat myself. Someone else had been using it and had written terribly vulgar things about me. I talked to my parents about it and they said that they themselves had had a lot of their things go missing. My mom's wedding necklace went missing. Money from my dad's locker went missing. And when my mom would sleep, she could feel a really coarse hand touch her. My mother talked to my sister, and she said that she'd been losing a lot of her things and that she would wake up to weird noises or her alarm clock randomly ringing at 2 o'clock a.m. or even 5 o'clock a.m. in the morning. We eventually had a Malvi come over to the house who went around, checking the whole house, and told us that there was a strong presence of 3 jinns that had lived here and that they think this house belongs to them and not us. He said that they love to scare us and can be very harmful for us. He later blessed the whole house and gave us holy water, and told us that it was important to have it in the house at all times to prevent all bad spirits, and that we should occasionally clean the house with fresh seawater. After that, we never really had to go through anything similar to our previous experiences. I'm grateful that everything went well after that, because if we hadn't taken any action against them, God knows what would have happened. I'm just grateful we got rid of them. We moved out to family summer house when I was 2. House is 65 years old right now. Before it was used only in summer. But since my father was not doing well, we moved in there permanently. My great-grandfather bought the land for a good price and built the house back in the day. He told people that as they dug for the foundations of the house, they were able to see some stones or marbles. So the house was built on them. There was also a well in the garden. You can tell there used to be someone living there ages ago. It was a pretty house with a very big garden, probably the biggest garden in our neighborhood. So when you enter the garden, and if your senses are strong, you could feel the weird vibe. So I remember when I was around 4, I used to hear someone calling my name, and I was going out to search for the voice in the garden. My mom says that when I was 3, I was writing some letters looking like Greek letters on the walls with chalk. Also, once in winter, we had a stove to heat the room, and sometimes it smoked. My mom says one night she heard someone hitting on the walls and tables to make some noise. She woke up to that sound and realized we were about to die due to carbon monoxide poisoning. These happened in the first couple of years of our stay. Later on, when I was around 14, I was reading a book in the living room and my brother fell asleep on the couch. It was around 2:00 a.m. I felt that I have been watched and I heard someone whispering me to go to bed. I didn't take it seriously, and I swear to minutes later there was a strong wind blowing through the windows and it actually made curtains fly. It was not a windy night, and it was a weird single wind. I freaked out and directly went to bed. About 2 or 3 hours later, my brother woke us up with a scream. He kept saying that there is someone in the house. He said he saw a woman facing in the room. He first thought it was my sister going to kitchen, but my sister had short curly hair and this woman had long straight hair. A year after this incident, my mom and my dad were in the living room and they heard someone knocking the door. Then they both heard my sister's voice saying, "Mom, open. It's me." So my mom opened the door as they both saw there was nobody at the door. When my sister came home, she confirmed that she was out with the friends. Later on, I had a strange dream about a woman, maybe because I was highly affected by what was happening. I do not know. I saw a woman in a light pink dress floating in the garden. She smiled at me and asked me if I want to see where the treasure is. I said yes, and she took me to some part of the garden. I was seeing garden in old times. There was no trees that we planted. There was a mill instead. She had me locate the spot and I dug. When I woke up, I described the woman to my brother. It was almost the same appearance that he has seen that night. Meanwhile, people who visited us has seen shadows passing through the windows. I used to lose my hair clips or cards. Once I remember I put my passenger card on the console, and my mom saw me do that. I started doing my makeup. Then it just vanished. We got shocked and started looking everywhere. I mean, where could it go? Then we went to my room. When we came back, it was laying on the ground in front of the door. There is no way that I wouldn't see it. Hiding objects happened couple of times too, but most common this was knocking on the window. We used to wake up to knocks on the window. You know, the sound when someone taps on the window. People say it can be anything, but I know what I heard. We sold that place 22 years later. It took us too long because it was complicated to sell, since it was inheritance by the great-grandfather. I had a friend who was deeply into these stuff. I told him that we saw a ghost in the garden. I didn't give any details about the woman or anything. He said he wants to see the garden. So one night after work, we went there. He meditated and took some notes. He started describing the woman. Exact features that we have seen, he said. Her name was Raquel, and she was a volunteer working in a church. Ages ago, she was exiled from Croatia and settled down there. She was helping orphans, and she loved children more than anything. He said she tried to save a little girl who was sick, and she couldn't. She buried her near the mill, where she showed me the treasure. I still have goosebumps while writing these. After the little girl died, she died of sadness as well. On the notes that he has taken, he said she was repeating the same thing over and over again. I googled, translated, it was Moj Andio, something like that. Means my angel in Croatian. So some will think I made this up. Believe it or not, this happened, and we made sure that our new house is ghost-free.